Hey everybody, welcome out to another episode of Cult Classics vs. Comedians, Season 2, recording here at Night Flight Comics. We want to welcome you guys out to this episode. This is the last of our first four-part piece of Season 2, right? So this is my film. We're trailing with my film, which happens to be there's probably two cult movies.
The funniest movie
ever made. There's two cult movies that I think are just kind of number 1 and 2. Rocky Horror Show, number 1. A Clockwork Orange, number 2.
Absolutely agree.
Is in my wheelhouse. So, A Clockwork Orange, for those of you that aren't familiar with this film at all, it is a film of this young kid named Alex, he's young, apparently. He still lives at home and goes to high school, but he looks like he's 28 years old. But anyway, he is running around with a gang, with a bunch of hoodlums, and they run around in full white costumes with some kind of weird thing. So these guys, if it was just one of them,
like a jockstrap on the outside, right? Is that what it is?
If it was just one of these guys, it wouldn't be intimidating at all. But when four of them, yes. But if 4 of them show up, I'm frightened to death of this crew just by the way they wear. They come showing up.
But someone has a top hat.
A bowler hat, yeah.
Yes, one does. One has one of those golfing hats too. So they had to change him up. So these guys are cruising around London at the time, raising havoc and just committing acts of violence on random people.
At the time, which is the future.
Which is the future. Yes, it is the future. You can tell by the decorations. It's definitely, they got the stuff from IKEA of the future, all the decorations.
They were right.
They got it. They nailed it.
We did everything
from IKEA. If I could find a coffee table like that at IKEA.
Yes. You'd be at IKEA more often, wouldn't you? So these guys are going around and they are just committing acts of violence. They're breaking into people's houses. They're beating people up. People die. Ultraviolence.
They're kids
that like to go around and are very rapey. They're very rapey.
Super rapey.
Yes. And yes. Yes,
Ben,
they are.
Stop that.
Yeah, we're not.
We
do not
condone rape.
Not for any age group.
Yeah.
So then the one kid, the main Alex, he gets betrayed by his main group, and he gets busted, and he gets sent into rehab. Where at rehab, they are trying this new experimental therapy, I guess is what they would call it, where they're submitting videos and images of him, making him watch violent images, so that he will have a sick reaction.
Yeah,
to
kind of,
exactly.
Kind of like eating a tuna casserole while watching
tuna swim.
Tuna swim. You just can't do it after that.
Yeah, he's just
And listening to Beethoven.
Yeah.
and listening to Beethoven.
And I can't even tell you how often I just sit back and I'm like, are we gonna watch the tuna swim?
Eat some casserole.
Wait, hold
Get
on.
real sick.
Hold on, that's kind of code.
Yeah,
that's kind of code, by the way.
How about we kick our feet up and watch the tuna swim tonight?
Hey, baby. So anyway, they release Alex.
Tuna casserole's like the worst. That's why.
Is that why? Okay.
As if you needed to clarify that.
So they send Alex back out into society, where he then is revisited by all the people that he caused violence against, and of course he can't fight back now.
Yeah,
so he
he's
becomes
helpless.
the victim of it, and then at the end you find out that the government is in on it, which they're in on everything. So that is A Clockwork Orange. Ben, tell me what you think about Clockwork Orange.
All right, so I love A Clockwork Orange. I saw this as a teenager, and Halloween I dress up like Alex, and I actually carried around, I was telling the guys, I carried around a paperback copy of A Clockwork Orange because it had the appendix in the back that explained, it was basically Droogie to English dictionary.
Oh, yeah.
So I could talk like them all the time. And then I also saw it the night before I went into the missionary training center before I left on my LDS mission.
Which is
awesome.
That's pretty much what they tell you to do.
I saw
that.
I saw Singing in the Rain, which is tied into this because I never saw
There's a
Singing in the Rain
connection
until,
there.
I saw this movie and I fell in love with that movie. I saw Last Tango in Paris and Blade Runner before I went on my mission. I love
That's a missionary cocktail of movies.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner, Last Tango in Paris.
Yes.
It's basically a reverse horror story. It's where we spend our time with the monsters on character development at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then all the normal people come out and start haunting him.
Yeah. The cinematography is amazing. As
Jeremy,
Kubrick does in all of it. Kubrick cinematography is
All right.
always...
Jason, what do you think of Stanley Kubrick films?
I hate Stanley Kubrick. I've never... The Shining is the only Stanley Kubrick movie that I like. 2001: A Space Odyssey felt like I was Alex in...
You had the eyes!
No, are you shitting me?
Another Kubrick film? Why?
No! It's good, but it leaves an uncomfortable feeling with me. It's just heavy, and like it's one of those movies that leaves you thinking about things that I don't want to think about. When I go to a movie, I want it to like almost take me away and be a fun escape. Have some bounty hunters blow some things up or something. You know?
Jason's still upset that Kubrick was slated to do Critters, and he wasn't available.
A Clockwork Orange is still a very different feel from 2001: A Space Odyssey, where 2001: A Space Odyssey is slow-moving and classical music's playing, and it's pleasant. Classical music plays in A Clockwork Orange, but it's not pleasant at all. It's
To me, it's weird that the sound design, so the music and the way that the narration goes on is in direct contrast to what's going on visually.
Yes.
It's like it's very uplifting and calming and civilized.
Yeah.
But what's going on visually is just brutal.
This movie leaves you with that feeling of...
Well, at the end, basically, Alex finds a home in government. Basically.
Of course, perfect place for him.
Yeah.
It's just a movie that's not enjoyable to watch for me. Not that it's not... I would still recommend it as something to see. Go watch it.
It's
Go
a classic.
ahead.
It's a
Watch
classic.
it. Just watch it. But it's not...
It's not Critters.
It's not
Critters.
It's not Critters, okay?
Okay.
But it's not a movie
what
that
is
you can...
Critters?
Yeah.
Critters is just Critters, and if you...
It just
I can't
raised the bar
explain it to you,
too
just
high
go
for
see it.
any other movie.
Critters is a once in a lifetime.
It's really hard
It
for...
happens.
Never happened
It was
again.
like Jaws.
It's a
Like
miracle,
it
yeah.
happened by chance.
And then it
shouldn't
happened
have turned
2
out the
more
way it
times
did,
in
but it
Critters
did.
2 and 3.
Yeah. But it's
Struggling to find the
no,
words.
It's worth watching, but it's not one. It's not a movie that's sit back and kick your shoes off and let's just sit back and relax.
Yeah.
You had a long day at work. Let's
Yeah.
put this on. It's not entertaining like that. It's a good story and provokes some interesting thoughts. But as far as watching it for enjoyment, it is not. No. Nope.
No. Melissa, what did you think?
I love this movie. I think it's fantastic. I'm very against behavioral therapy, and I feel like it has a lot of good commentary on that with like forcing to change behavior, because I agree with the storyline of like the good has to come from within, otherwise you're just acting out because of fear, and so that's all they did to him, was try to install fear in him. And I love the dialogue. It's so cool.
It is
like
cool.
I read about the author, and he was a linguist too, and so that's why he put everything
That's
together
like the
so well.
language is part Russian too. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
it's
in
Russian
so
to
he takes
English, like
Russian
Cockney.
things and he
It's
mixes
amazing.
it all up. Yep.
I love the dialogue.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, this movie, obviously, I recommended this as my pick. I love the movie. Again, it's not a movie, like you mentioned, that you're just going to sit down and watch. It's definitely, it's a very...
Jamie got all of his kids together.
Got all my kids.
His grandkids. They had pizza.
Movie night.
I
Here's
said,
some popcorn.
check out how mom and dad are going to discipline the kids. You know, like, you better straighten up or we're going to pry your eyeballs open and make you watch.
It's a great scare tactic.
It works. Okay.
It totally works.
It totally
does.
works. It totally works. But, like, to me, this movie is, it's like if you took all the, everybody in art school and made them really good and gave them a budget, and they would make this movie, right?
Yes.
No, it is an art. Yep.
It's so artsy.
It's such an art
so
house
artsy.
type of movie.
And Ben, you said there was no funny scenes. I thought there was a very funny scene,
Which
especially
scene?
on the scene when you're talking about where they're singing in the rain, and they've got their little outside jock strap, and he opens it up, and a ball falls out, and he grabs it, and he's just like, and I'm like, Of course.
I missed that.
Of course that's what that's for.
Someone else has the
did I
jacks.
miss that?
They just-
Let's be clear. What he does then is he takes that ball.
Oh, well, now hold on.
Puts it into
Yeah.
the girl's mouth and tapes her mouth shut.
Well, it was fun
Hilarious.
okay.
You
gotta
no holler.
We didn't get to the real punchline yet, Ben.
Yeah.
Those were just
Wow.
tags along the
Come
way,
on.
and then we were like, oh, it got less funny at the end of this.
But at that moment,
joke
when
all
the ball
too
falls
yeah.
out, I laughed. Yeah, of course.
When he tells
And then-
his mom to
and
go
then it
work at the
got ugly.
factory.
Your grandson
Yeah.
said, "Granddad, what are you laughing at?"
No, yeah.
His ball fell out.
I'm like, yeah, it's funny. It's funny. It's,
If you've seen Hot Shots Part 2, you'd be dying right now,
Yeah.
okay?
completely runs in line with that. Yeah. But yeah, for the movie, again, if you like if you want to get into cult films, again, this is a staple of that.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, it's not something you're going to watch over and over again. But like you mentioned, like the dialogue is super awesome.
So great.
The
Acting's amazing.
the costumes.
The milk bar. That's one of
milk
my
bar.
favorite.
Yeah.
The sets for the milk
Yeah.
bar. Oh,
See,
Well, and
so
that's how
coffee
we
table I
actually
want.
get.
Yeah,
that's
I
even-
would want that coffee
That's
table
even
too.
how he gets set, like caught too. Is that
Yeah.
the gang turns against
Yeah.
him and they smash the
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
milk drug or whatever it is.
Now, I will take this away from it. The scene where they're all in the car and they're obviously in front of a really shitty blue screen driving down the street. I was like, okay, this is where you lost it, buddy. You did all this time on all these other scenes, and then you can't get the car driving scene.
Pulp Fiction does that too,
That's
and
true.
but I love it.
And
love
it might
in
be
that,
kind of like
in that
a-
stylized kind
I was
of
gonna say,
way.
I think
with,
that's intentional.
with Pulp
almost.
It might have
Fiction
been.
I absolutely loved that.
Yeah.
That shot's all about that slow push in to Alex just sitting
Yeah.
there with that smirk.
With that smirk on his face, yeah. So, yep. And you like the movie?
I love the movie. I can't recommend it because it's rough.
It is a brutal
it's like-
movie.
When we did Cannibal Holocaust,
Yeah.
the same thing is if you love film, you
Watch
can't-
it.
You have
Yeah.
to see it, but it's rough. It's
One
Well
thing I
shaded
like
in
about Kubrick films, though, is he always opens
And
up
if you
like
think it's-
discussion, like
yeah.
difficult subject matters to like talk about. So watch it if you want to have like a discussion afterwards. I think.
Yeah, like what was going on in that hotel room in The Shining where that dude's blowing that other dude?
The squirrel outfit.
Yeah,
like,
what?
There's suddenly like
So
a
that's
squirrel.
what I've talked about that my whole life.
I have
Like,
too.
What is that? Kubrick!
Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for
Thank
being
you.
on these episodes of Cult Classics versus Comedians. Again, we want to give a shout out to Night Flight Comics letting us film here. If you're a comic fan, come on down here and check it out. So again, how can everybody follow you, Ben?
Job Faust, JOBFAUST, pretty much anywhere.
And I'm just on Twitter at Jamie Maxfield. Melissa?
MelissaMerlot.com and Melissa Merlot on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Twitter, Jason_Harvey.
Perfect.
And Alan, where can we follow you?
Yeah, Night Flight. Perfect. Awesome. Again, guys, I want to thank you guys for being on these episodes and
Thank you.
look forward to some upcoming episodes that we'll be filming here shortly. Thanks a lot, everybody.